Well, it's smelling.
What do you think about that?
I like the smell, and I like the look of it. I like full barns full of burley.
Got a little sunburn.
Chock full.
See that? How the sun kind of burnt it a little bit? We'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. When that cures out, it may have a green cast to it right there. Obviously, it's not all like that. You know, there you go.
That's a really nice.
It's got a little ammonia to it.
Yeah, it does. We cut on Sunday and Monday, and we started picking up, and we picked it all up Tuesday, Wednesday. So this stuff didn't get to lay out the customary 3 days. This stuff only laid out 1 day, and that's kind of what you get with the 1 day. So they're talking about a big rain today. Didn't happen. So yesterday when they put the last stick in the barn, I told the guys, hey, tomorrow you can cut some more. And I believe that they come up here about 8 this morning, and they cut until about 2 this afternoon, and they went back to the house. And I would imagine in a couple hours they'll come back out when it cools off a little bit and cut a little bit more. But I basically told them they have today and tomorrow to cut all that. And
how many?
Rather than micromanage them, they know what the objective is. We need to cut the rest of this field today and tomorrow. So I don't care if they start at 8, or if they start at 9. If they take a break in the heat of the day, I don't blame them. I'd do the same thing.
It's really hot.
As long as it gets done, you ain't got to worry about it.
Well, they know what the objective here is, and 4 of our guys came back this time, so this is their 3rd season. So they kind of know what to expect. They've been through storms. They've been through an early fall, you know, when we were out there cutting tobacco in coveralls in October. So they kind of know that that's not good. When you're cutting tobacco in October in coveralls, you're stripping tobacco that has green leaves in February. That's not good. So
well, this will have a good couple months.
We need this. We need to wrap up harvest by about the 10th of October. That needs to be the tail end.
But you got tobacco in the ground a little bit late this year.
We did, and we've got some that has yet to be topped. So here it is, the 28th.
That's 25th.
25th of August, and we're just kind of getting started. So we're at least a couple weeks behind schedule. That's going to make it a little bit more compressed. We're going to have to do a little bit more performance each week to make that deadline. We have 45 acres and roughly 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So yeah, we need to put 6 or 7 acres a week in. But what we did is we went over to my cousin's place and we cut about 2 acres. We came up here and cut a little over 2 acres and then put it in. So we're sitting on 4 acres in the barn right now, which is good progress. And we've got some already cut, you know, for the next go. I want to walk out in here and actually look at this, because I think this may have to stay out a few days. When we cut that last bunch, we had some overcast days, so the sunburning was at a minimal. But this type of day right here, it'll sunburn this tobacco, it'll blister it. And the only cure for sunburn is more sun. I see some sun burning right here. And really the best thing for that is if this can stay out here for 2 or 3 days. The old timers used to say 3 dews. That needs to have 3 dews on it and it won't have that sunburn. There's supposed to be 6 plants on stick. And there's 6 on that one. That's good. Some of these plants had a sucker. You can see the sucker on this plant. I'm glad that they didn't actually cut that and put that on the stick, because there's really nothing there as far as value.
Almost looks like a bunch of big pieces of lettuce.
It's a big parasite that robs us of our tobacco.
Here you can see a stalk that when we topped it, it got a bacterial infection. When we topped it, it got the hollow stalk. That stalk's got a rot down the middle of it, and all the leaves fell off. And I'm glad to see that the men left that behind, because if it doesn't have any leaves on it, it has no value for us. All the leaves are laying on the ground right here at the base of that.
Have you seen any diseases this year?
Well, you see all these spots on this leaf. I believe this to be frog eye. And maybe some target spot. Frog eye is typically these smaller spots. Target spot will be a big spot, you know, the size of a baseball. And this is a fungal problem, and the cure for it is to apply fungicide when tobacco's this tall. But if it rains every day, you can't do that, because you can't drive in here. As a matter of fact, we came out here on Monday and got the high boy stuck up there in that corner of this field, because it had rained Sunday night about 8/10. And we were trying to drop sticks. We have 2 high boys. We have one that we spray with, which you saw in the last video. And then we have another high boy that we drop the sticks with. Well, I'll show you that machine in a minute. So we'll put a large quantity of these sticks on board on that machine, and a couple of workers will ride up there while I drive through the rows, and they'll lay these sticks in the field so that when they're doing the cutting, they don't have to fool with that.
What is it about these sticks that make them so special and so
well, they're typically...
How long these been being used? And
some of these sticks may be 100 years old.
100 years old.
Some of these sticks may be 100 years old. I bet there's not a stick out here that's any newer than the 70s. The sticks are made of native timber, typically a hardwood, hickory, oak.
So I wondered,
they're all different shapes and sizes because they've came from different places.
It's heavy, and you could make a pipe tamper out of some of this stuff here, I reckon, and you'd have yourself a real bit of Kentucky Burley history.
I don't care for this stick right here.
In your pipe tamper.
If you load this stick up and it goes on the tier rail and this orientation, it breaks.
Yeah.
But if the guy knows what he's doing and he turns that stick this way, well, it's plenty strong to hold 6 plants.
I like this one.
That's a stick right there.
It's a 1x1 right here, ain't it?
Pretty much.
I reckon you can spin off some...
I know you can't see most of this stick because it's underneath this tobacco, but this is a really old stick. It wasn't sawn. You know what a froe is? A froe is a tool that is used to rip a log. I want you to think beef jerky. You know, you pull the meat out to make the jerky. well, you pull the fibers out to make this stick.
Okay.
So take a look at this stick. It's not made with saw. I mean, it followed the grain of the wood.
Yeah.
And this is one of those 100-year-old sticks.
Mm.
And here's another one right here. Look at that guy.
Gnarly fella.
Yeah. Not exactly my favorite when you go to kicking these plants off of it in the fall.
Yeah.
That's character.
You bet. So let's mosey on over here to the front battleground. You harvest Burley tobacco, you take 2 rows. So when we drop sticks, we put sticks in every other row. And so the man harvesting this row is said to be harvesting a stick row, which is really 2 rows of plants. And ideally he'll take 3 from each row to put together that stick and then move up. Sometimes you have to take 4 out of one row and 2 out of the other to keep them even. There's another one of them hollow stalks. Got like 1 leaf left on it. And it's a dandy, feel that.
It's like tougher than leather, huh?
It's thick and heavy. Well, didn't have anywhere else to go. All that sap.
Yeah.
This was just cut. It's another indicator. This white material is called the pith. And you'll learn in biology about phloem and xylem. That's where that's located.
I just enrolled in biology.
You'll learn all about that in biology, and I want you to think of that as an elevator.
Little man smoke. It's young man smoke now.
Elevator.
This is an elevator, and those roots down there are gonna, you can actually see roots right here. See them?
Mm-hmm.
These roots are gonna pull that fertilizer, the nutrients out of the soil. They're gonna put it in the elevator, and the elevator is gonna transport it to the top of the plant. And these leaves near the bottom, these are the oldest leaves on this plant. As a matter of fact, the bottom 2 leaves are probably the 2 leaves that were in the greenhouse. And every time the plant makes new leaves, it makes them from the central bud at the top. So as the plant gets taller, it makes new leaves. So these leaves at the top are the youngest. And the leaves at the bottom are the oldest. And when you harvest this tobacco, the ideal thing to do is to get it before all the bottom ones fall off. But at the same time, you want to let these top ones have time to mature. So it's a delicate balancing act between timeline and the weather to get this top leaf in good shape and not lose all the ones at the bottom. We're a little behind on this.
Gotta get it just right.
We're a little behind on this, and all this excessive rainfall, you can see that ground is still wet. This time of year, you should be able to go out here in this field and make dust. I mean, normally in August in Kentucky, it's hot and dry. But this season and last season, it's wet. I want to go down here to the head of this row.
So about 2 months to maturity.
The plants were seeded and spent about 60 days in the greenhouse, and then they were transplanted into this field about 60 days ago today.
About a 4-month cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And then another how many months?
Another 60 days in the barn.
Okay.
It may be ready in 45, but we won't. We're going to still be cutting. And typically that part of October, it gets real dry, and you can't get it in case. You know, you try to take it down, it just shatters. You got nothing. There's one of those character sticks that we were talking about a second ago. Somebody handmade that.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else's hands have been all over it for 100 years.
I'll bet I could turn that into probably a $200 stick.
Let me see that. I'm gonna locate this last plant cut. I'm gonna put that stick in the ground. I'm gonna put my spear on top. And I'm gonna position my dominant foot right in front of the stick. And then I'm gonna bend this plant over and I'm gonna cut it off with a tomahawk, spear it on this stick. And I'm gonna grab the next one in that row and spear it on this stick. And then I'm gonna reach behind me. And I'm gonna keep doing this motion right here until I get my 6 plants on this stick.
Then what do you do with the stick? Just
it stays right there.
For 3 days.
It stays right there for 3 days under ideal circumstances. And then I'm gonna step forward and pick up my next stick and do it all over again. I was actually hoping the guys would still be cutting when you got here, And I don't know if we wait around long enough, they may show back up. But I'm not going to be that guy that goes over there to their house and be like, get out here and go to work.
Just yell over there, sangria, sangria.
My dad would go to their house and be like, get out here and go to work right now. I've already explained to them, today and tomorrow we're going to cut this field.
Good guy, huh?
Yeah, they can get up at 6 in the morning and be here when the sun's coming up.
I was surprised because they didn't roll out this morning until about 8. Like I went to take the kids to school and I came out the road at 7 and they were still home. And I got the kids to school and I came back in and they were just getting ready to go out the road. Another problem we're having, I need to talk to them about. If we cut this and count it, this is 1, and then cut this and count this as 2, and when we get to 6, we get another stick, we're gonna have a lot of extra sticks because we've got these extra plants. And I'm gonna ask them every once in a while to not count this as a plant because it's not really, I mean, look at the leaves.
Yeah.
And there are farmers, this is a discussion I had with at least 4 different farmers in the last week, and 2 of them take these to the barn and 2 of them leave these in the field. The 2 that take them to the barn are under the impression that, you know, we want everything we can get out of this field. And the 2 that leave them in the field are under the impression that this thing is not worth the labor it's going to take to get it to the bale. Because there's just not enough weight there. So that might be an interesting experiment for the university.
Well, during that inspection, they may look at that leaf and say, looks like you got a mix of some.
I think when that gets in the bale, it'll just kind of, it'll be all right. It'll look just like the others.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know how much of that's actually going to end up in the bale. Wondering how many stick rows they've got cut here. 2, 3, 4. When I go to pick this up, I parked the waters, so I got 3 on each side, and I got me a handle right there in the middle. I don't know. Tell me what that weighs. That's 30 or 40 pounds, ain't it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, just consider it, if that was a fish, it would be 200 pounds. What's it really weigh?
30 or 40 pounds.
Yeah,
now here we got an interesting phenomenon here with this thing here. What?
I think he died.
What do you reckon here?
I think he died. I think he got the hollow stalk and he died.
He's almost petrified. Look at him. He's bone dry right there.
It's like a mummy.
Dead.
Hollowed out, shelled out.
And then if you look right here, you'll see there's a lot of loss. I mean, it's time for us to get out here and get what we can while we can get it. You remember how they were breaking the flowers last time? This is what they broke. This is what they broke out of that. This was the top with the flower on it. If you find one of these that's mature enough, you may actually get some seed out of it. Much like that stump back there with the sap pouring out of it, this thing still had sap in it too. Maybe enough to make seed if it was far enough along. Because when we top it, we break that off, we just throw it on the floor in between the rows.
You keep walking in my shot, son. I'm gonna have to slap you next time you...
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic we haven't had to deal with before.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody walking into my shot.
Golly, look at this one.
Maybe I am shot.
As long as you're making money, son, we're good.
If that plant was right here, that's how tall it was.
Mm.
And they broke it down, and I'm glad they did because the tiers in the barn are only so tall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they broke it like right here, then that plant would have been 7 feet tall going in that 4-foot tier. It wouldn't have fit real good. And then you'll have problems with curing and it'll rot. You already alluded to that ammonia smell. If it sets in raining for a week, we might have a problem. But I don't think it's supposed to. I think there's 20 and 30% chances every day for the next week. But what do you do when there's a 20% chance?
Keep on moving.
You keep on moving. I mean, you can't just stop for a 20% maybe. And I may have made the wrong decision. It may rain an inch tomorrow. And an inch of rain on this would not be good.
You just gotta take your chances, I guess.
It ain't gonna rain on all of it because it all ain't cut yet.
So, what's this?
Farming's kind of like fishing. It ain't catching, it's fishing.
That is a weed.
That's a big old weed. How tall is this? Oh,
I almost got speared by one.
You remember the little cultivating tractor, the farm-all?
Yeah.
We never got in this field with the farm-all. We planted this tobacco and it rained almost every day.
Huh.
And before we could get in it with the farm-all, the tobacco was this tall. So, you know, cultivating wasn't gonna happen. So this field never got cultivated and we never hoed it. So there's a few weeds out there. I wanted to come down here to the head. First of all, see how many rows were cut. That's good. I see 7 on that one, counting that little guy. That's good. That's how it ought to be done. I see 6 on that one, but they're all brutes. Look at that.
Mm.
Is that a silver dollar?
Mm-hmm. That's money right there.
You can control this diameter by the spacing.
Uh-huh.
And when you plant them 24 inches in a row, they get that big. I mean, these are on 20-inch spacing, and that's plenty big right there. I told you on the last video, we're not in the flower business. We're not in the stalk business either. We spread those on the pasture. That sucker's gonna be heavy.
Let it mix up with some manure.
We'll spread those stalks out on the field and then take a disc to them. Basically reincorporate all that into the dirt. These are GMOs. For all you folks out there who are anti-GMO, these are GMOs. These are Roundup Ready soybeans, and the farmer planted the soybeans and the weeds came, and about 4 days ago he sprayed Roundup. And the weeds are dying and the beans will flourish, and those beans are going to end up in livestock feed,
Oil.
soybean oil. If you read the ingredients on your food, if it says anything like lecithin, that's a soybean byproduct. Of course, soybean oil, they take the hull of the soybean and make livestock feed out of it. But I wanted you to see what that Roundup has done to these weeds in just a few days.
Yeah, it's put a hurting on them. They ain't feeling too good right about now.
Unfortunately, they got a little big.
Yeah, if they haven't choked out the bean.
And they're going to cause the beans to collapse when they go down, probably. But let's take a look at one of these soybean plants.
Those are the beans, huh?
It will be. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I don't think they're done yet. I think there'll be some pods here on this node, and maybe even some up here. Yeah, I don't think they're done yet. These beans were planted late. These beans were planted late, and then the herbicide application was late. But I think they're still going to be pretty good beans.
Mm.
They're going to be a pain to harvest because they're going to be on the ground. And whenever you get a haircut, that hair clipper has a blade that doesn't move and a blade that does. So is the cutter on the combine. And the head that's on the front of the combine has sensors on the bottom, and you can set that dude right down on the deck, and it reads the ground and it makes slight adjustments up and down so that you can shave that ground just like you shave your face. Not everybody.
Yeah. We don't do no shaving around these here parts. But you got that Native American blood in you, so you don't got too heavy of a beard yourself.
I'm gonna send one of them. I want to send a sample to one of them online things.
Hey, I did mine.
Just to see, because you hear all kinds of things. You know, people are like, yeah, our grandma was half Cherokee, or you know what I'm saying? And you're thinking, is that true, or are they just guessing, or did they just hear someone say that? Is it? Looks ready to bail, don't it?
Might be a little wet underneath.
Yeah. Greener than a John Deere tractor.
¿Cómo estás, amigo?
Bien, bien. ¿En español?
Poquito.
Está bien.
¿Mucho trabajo?
Sí, mucho.
It's kind of like driving a nail. Have you ever tried to drive a nail while somebody watched? You'll hit your thumb.
Yeah, you don't want to put it...
This is Luciano, and he's been with us for 3 seasons. And when he came to us 3 seasons ago, he had never worked in tobacco at all. He had never cut any tobacco. And between my father and myself and my uncle and my cousin, we were able to show him how to do that. And in the past 3 seasons, he's had lots of practice. And so he may cut 700 sticks today. He may cut 1,000 on a good day.
So that's the tool that they call the tomahawk, huh?
Yes, sir. That is a tomahawk and a spear. And when those men came here 3 years ago, I gave each one of them a brand new tomahawk and spear.
Let's take a look at that tomahawk.
And I noticed after the first day that they had written their names on them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like your rifle or your saddle for your horse. I mean, that is your tool, and it's yours. You know, you keep a good sharp edge on it, and you keep all that gum off of it.
Very good.
Said that one was no good. Yeah. I agree. No whole house, no banana.
I'm taking spoon stuff.
I took it in college, but I didn't really take it until these guys came. When they first arrived, they didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak but just a little Spanish, but we have both learned a lot in the interim. So much so that I usually understand what my father does. I do my best. Yeah. So we'll let the sun. You see how that has work. Well, we'll leave that out in the sun for a couple of days, and then it'll be nice and limber. So we'll take it to fall. Even that one is good. This is one of those old ones, you know, like.